In 2024, we saw the release of a brand new Darth Maul Sith infiltrator, and that introduced to us once again a Qui-Gon Jinn minifig. Everything was all good and dandy for about a year, and then recently images have been popping up all over the place of a brand new looking Qui-Gon Jinn that appears to have a slightly altered hair color of a lighter reddish brown. And immediately we see prices of this skyrocketing to well over $250, but now they've recently come down a little bit to around under $200. The best image I can find comparing what these two minifigs look like is on Instagram from the account Lego Stock Images, so huge shout out to them for this image we have here. And as we can see, it's nothing all too crazy or all too different. And if you've been a fan of Lego your entire life, you already know this, but if you're a brand new fan of Lego, you'll learn very quickly that the slightest differences on minifigs can go for a lot of money. This reminds me a lot of the Clone Commander Fox minifig, that the only difference there was a slight gray circle that was a misprint, and both of those minifigs go for a lot of money, but the misprint goes for an astronomical amount of money. You also have the black hair Kanan minifig. Originally, Kanan had brown hair, and then towards the end of the shelf life for the Ghost, they ended up swapping him over to black hair, and that minifig goes for over $200. And also Princess Leia with a misprint for her hairpiece. It normally has texture and grooves on it, and this misprint for a certain run of sets produced only included a flat hairpiece, and that minifig is astronomically expensive. The other minifig would be Finch Dallow. Originally with the Resistance Bomber set, this consisted of a Resistance Bomber pilot minifig, and towards the end of the shelf life, at the very last minute, Lego made a swap to a Finch Dallow minifig. And I understand why this minifig skyrocketed, mainly because it's a completely different character, while the other ones were just slight variations. But you know what? While I might not be dropping $800 on certain minifigs, there's plenty of people who are. And it is very interesting to see what happens with this Qui-Gon minifig. Now, I want to say this Qui-Gon minifig variation only had one supply run, so Lego only produced it for one whole wave of sets of these that they produced. Now, looking for this, if you want it, I'm not exactly sure what the serial number is. If you look around in comment sections on posts, it's actually there, but off the top of my head, I do not know exactly what that serial number is. Now, the whole point of me making this video isn't to say whether I'm for or against this minifig variation being this much. I can't control how much it's going to go for, but I do find it to be crazy, and I always have and I always will find it to be crazy that people pay astronomical amounts of money for a slight difference in a minifig. I guess for me, I would rather take that $200 and instead of spending it on a slightly different Qui-Gon version, I would rather take that money and spend it on another Lego set like a UT-AT, or put that money towards another UCS set. I think it's fun and adds another element to collecting Lego when you have these slightly altered versions, but it's not something that I go out and would prioritize. I do think the price of this is going to end up dropping, in my opinion. I don't think it's going to be able to maintain the price of around $200. I wouldn't be surprised if it came down to around $100 something. No one knows exactly how many of these were actually produced, or if Lego was going to keep on producing them, or if it was just one of those misprints like we saw with the Leia, like we saw with the Fox. All of that will be able to be determined in the coming months if more of these are popping up. But while I might think it's crazy for people to spend this much money on a certain minifig, and I'm sure there's plenty of people out there, maybe some of you watching this video right now who are thinking about or want to spend money on that new Qui-Gon minifig, it's just something that I had to talk about and give a little bit more information on, just because I've been seeing it pop up everywhere and people asking questions about it all over the place. But let me know if you plan on buying this minifig, or if you actually have this minifig, and what are your thoughts on this? Do you think that it's going to rise in value, or do you think that eventually this will decrease in value? Overall, it is pretty similar to what we've seen in the past with other Lego minifig variants, and I do imagine that this will end up happening with more Lego Star Wars minifigs in the future. So don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more Lego content, and I'll see you in the next one.